Emotional abuse of children is a topic that a lot of parents shy away from, or should I say ignore, overlook, or are even ignorant of. Now, one of the reasons I chose this topic, coined this topic this way, is because I didn't want to come off as judgmental. But I mean, come on, let's think about it. Someone is definitely responsible for it. Emotional abuse can be caused by you, the parents. Emotional abuse can come from your domestic staff. It can come from the child's teacher. It can come from the child's class assistant. It can come from the child's a sibling, right? It can come from a sibling. It can come from peers, maybe friends from school, neighbors. It can come from anyone. Hello everyone, welcome back to Drip of Love. My name is Rachel Okpako, the founder of Drip of Love, the Child's Domain, a platform created for parents, children, and teenagers. Now, but before we dive into the controversial but yet crucial topic of the day, I just want you to share this video to as many persons that might find it helpful. Please like, please subscribe, and leave a comment below. What do you think about the topic today? Signs of an emotionally abused child. Let's spread this awareness together. So what exactly is emotional abuse? Sexual abuse is slightly evident. Physical abuse is visible, like it's very evident. There are a lot of signs to it. Emotional abuse is not as visible as the other kinds of abuse, making it even more difficult to recognize. Okay, a lot of children, now we hear a lot of stories of adults committing suicide. Yes, recently there has been a lot of stories of children committing suicide. Children, now if they don't commit suicide, there are a lot of things that can bring a ripple effect even into adulthood. So this is why we need to address emotional abuse, because we don't want a child carrying a scar from childhood to teenagehood without help. I mean, just imagine going through that very solitude period of life, phase of life, without anyone helping you out. I'm sure as adults, some of us watching this video probably experienced several forms of emotional abuse. Okay? And we know what we went through, and we know what we are going through even as adults. So we would not want that with our children. I always say that experience is a good teacher, right? But what if I didn't have to experience it? What if I had help prior to whatever it is that could harm me, that could hurt me? What are some examples of emotional abuse? Emotional abuse involves constant criticism and humiliation. Now, criticism in itself is not a bad thing, right? We all need some form of criticism at one point or another in different aspects of our lives. But when we constantly focus on the negative behavior or the negative performance of our children, it becomes a very big issue. When there are some parents like that, you'll be wondering, are there parents that, yes, there are parents like that, they never see the good in whatever their child does. Yes, some children can be a handful, but if we constantly focus on the negative aspect of their behavior, they find it very hurting. Now, I've noticed a scenario in schools, right, where some teachers will focus on a particular child because the child is delayed or because the child is really slow. So the child is not meeting up to their expectation. Maybe they have a time limit for that child to write to a particular number or know a particular thing, and the child is not meeting up. They tend to amount so much pressure, talk to the child in a way that is really derogatory because they want to get the good name, they want to get the award, they want to get the reward, they want to meet up the expectation of the proprietress or the head teacher. But what about the child that can be handled differently? Emotional abuse, like I said, is not visible. What if it's a child that cannot speak up? What if it's a child that we just gobble it in? Imagine going through life in that state. Let's say your child fights with their younger sibling, right? It's very easy to just criticize. But what if you use the carrot stick approach? What if you start with an encouragement? An encouragement can be a reward, can be in form of an encouragement. Hey, I've known you to be a very peaceful child. I've known you to, the other day I saw you trying to resolve the conflict you had with your sibling without even shouting. So what happened today? Yes, if the gravity of what that child did at that point is much, you can offer a form of consequence. You can say, hey, you have overstepped that boundary. I told you earlier that we do not shout in this house. Shouting is not part of our values. Fighting is not part of our values. For that reason, you have overstepped your boundary, and this is the consequence for that, for overstepping your boundary. Or the sandwich method, where we praise, criticize, and then praise again. Because children do not build on the negatives. Children learn when you focus on the positive. If you keep focusing on the negative, their minds, their brain will be triggered to focus on there. They'll start feeling like they are incapable of doing the right thing. They'll start focusing on the wrong thing they are not getting right. Another aspect of emotional abuse is shaming, blaming, shouting, name calling. Okay, it has become a thing that we no longer see it as something big, because after all, our parents were shaming us, right? Generations before now were shaming us. So we too, we have casually begun to shame our children. Now, aside from shaming our children watch that we shame others. I mean, you look at other people and say, that man will not even fine, that ugly woman. That's already shaming. So you passed it on, you call them names. A child does not do well academically, you are shaming the child. Your child is not writing properly, you are shaming the child. Your child has not started speaking or is not as fluent as you want the child to be. You are shaming the child instead of supporting and encouraging. You are shaming your child. Your child is shaming their sibling. Okay? Your children are shaming other children in school. And the cycle continues, except we stop it. Thank God a lot of schools are becoming very aware now. But shaming is very common with parents. Now, with domestic staff, do you know what is happening with your child and your domestic staff? Now, that domestic staff may not be physically abusing that child. Okay? The domestic staff may not be sexually abusing your child. So you feel everything is okay, everything is normal. But do you know the kind of words the person says to the child? Okay? What kind of words do you use on your child? What kind of words do you use on your child when you are angry? What kind of words does your child's teacher use to correct that child when the child does something wrong? Okay? Some children will just absorb it. We just take it in. But when it continues, when they keep building on focusing and absorbing that negative, one day it will just rub off on them that there's something wrong with them, that there's something not good about them. That is where the issue of self-esteem begins. Another aspect is ignoring and neglecting. Do you see yourself ignoring your child? Okay, do you see yourself neglecting your child? If you neglect your child as a parent, you would know. It's very common with parents that are so busy, entrepreneurs. Sometimes we can get so hooked up in whatever we are doing that we forget that we are supposed to cater to children. Ignoring and neglecting can come from, yes, you are physically, can come from never being emotionally present for the child. Yes, you are there. You could be running your business at home and be there physically. Physically present, but emotionally you are nowhere to be found. Your child is looking for someone to interact with, someone to talk to, someone to gist with, or someone to just, at least just ask them a question that resonates with them, that makes them feel, that will make them feel like they are understood. But it doesn't happen with them. High expectations. When they don't meet up to their expectations, whether in behavior, whether in performance, we tend to abuse them. Another aspect of emotional abuse is manipulation, constantly gaslighting your child, tripping your child into projecting your insecurities on them. Okay? When you want them to do a particular thing because of you, for your own benefits, because you don't want people to feel you're not a good parent, or you're not doing well as a parent, then you take note of every little detail of their life and pick on it. It is very common with parents of teenagers. Okay? Parents of teenagers pick on every little thing, not because you just want to help the child, but because of your own selfish interests. And at that point, they are grown enough to understand some of these things, and it begins to affect them, that they're just all about comparing them with others because of your own insecurities. You give them, and if they don't do it, you guilt trip them into feeling they don't love you, or they are not good enough, or they are not good children. You guilt trip them or give them some form of silent treatment. Another aspect of emotional abuse is isolating your child. This is very common with authoritarian parents. Okay? With so much rule, so much control, building some sort of fear that makes your child afraid of you. Every well-trained child should have a form of respect for you, their parent. A form of honor every child should have for their parent. But when it becomes fear, when your children are running helter-skelter because of you, when your children would rather just be alone than be with you, when your child feels controlled or feels like they are being subdued, and they don't have a say, no matter what it is, they don't have a say, they don't have to make any form of suggestion or contribution. They just go straight into silence. There are some children that are afraid, that are frightened of their parents. The sight of their parents frightens them. There are some children that are afraid of their teachers. That is why we have to be very attentive as parents. You have to be very attentive. Your child is reluctant to be with a particular domestic staff. You need to probe further. It's not a time to just say, you go, I need to go to work. Oh, you stay, I want to do this. At least probe a little further. Just a little further. Just maybe you might find something useful. Maybe you might find an information that might be useful, that might help you save that child. I had a wonderful time. I had an amazing time making this video. It was fun for me. I'm hoping that you enjoyed it and had a nice time too. I'm hoping that you found it helpful in some way. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Leave your comment in the comment section. What is your take home? What would you do differently as a parent? And please share. Please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please click on the subscription bell. You can see I am shouting. I am shouting at you because you have not subscribed. Thank you so much for joining me today. See you in another episode of A Drip of Love, the Child's Domain. Bye.